Yo, what is good, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prodigy channel, and in this video I am just going to be giving a quick little recap of the Monday Night Football game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens that just occurred, and I'm also going to let you guys know the pain that I'm going through after that game. It almost involved the Monday Night Miracle, but I fell just short. So before we do that, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and let's get into this game. So Kansas City traveled to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, and as you guys can see, they won 34-20, and the Chiefs offense looked absolutely ridiculous, as expected. But what we didn't really expect was that the Ravens looked a little bit stale. At halftime, well, you can see the second quarter right here. They break it down by quarter. The Chiefs outscored the Ravens 21-7, so they had, what, a 27-9 lead, it looks like, at halftime. And then I remember at the start of the third quarter, the Chiefs were driving down the field. Looked like they were about to get at least a field goal, probably get in the end zone. And then Darrell Williams actually coughed up the ball. He had a nice play, and then he fumbled. Baltimore recovered the fumble, and I believe that was the possession in the third quarter where they also drove the ball down the field and got a field goal. The Ravens did. So, it looked like maybe they were getting some momentum, if they were going to make it interesting, but in the end, the Chiefs kind of held on for the comfortable win. And yeah, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, as you can see by the box score here, he had himself a crazy game. If you guys needed a big game from Mahomes, you got it. You know what? If you were counting on him for a big Monday night game, can't do much better than that. 385 and 4, 31 out of 42 passes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'm going to tell you guys something. His rushing yards per carry doesn't look great. I will tell you this, though. He looked really good in this game. He just passed the eye test, as they say. Yards per carry wasn't that great, but he was breaking tackles. He looked elusive. There were times when he just got met right when he got the ball, and there wasn't much he could do. And even a lot of times in those situations, he broke free and got some extra yardage. So I wouldn't worry about CEH at all. And I believe the Ravens allowed the fewest points to running backs. It probably depends on your format in terms of fantasy running back stats. But either way, they're a tough run defense. So I wouldn't panic too much on him. Mahomes also had a rushing touchdown. So he had 5 touchdowns on the night. I forgot to mention that. And if you guys will notice, Patrick Mahomes had 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. The distribution was a little bit frustrating. Anthony Sherman, the fullback, caught a receiving touchdown on a little flip at the goal line. Eric Fisher, that's a tackle. He caught a touchdown in this game. Mecole Hardman, he was a sleeper coming into the season. He wasn't getting a crazy high snap percentage at the start of the year. I'm not sure what it was this game. I tried looking it up, and I could not find that data at the time of this recording. But he got in the end zone, so I don't know how many people were playing him in this matchup. Probably not many. And then Tyreek Hill, he had a very good game. He also had 2 rushes for 25 yards to go, along with his 5 catches for 77 yards and 1 touchdown. And Sammy Watkins, he had a pretty good game, 7 for 62. Last year we saw him fade quite a bit after his big Week 1 performance, but 7 for 62, that's not bad, right? And I think that's pretty much it. You saw Clyde, he had 20 carries. That's really good. The backup running backs weren't super involved in terms of carries. And then this is where I'm going to show you guys kind of where the pain comes from that I was talking about earlier before we get to the Ravens side of the ball. And it is right here. We're going to go to my matchup. 141.78 to 141.62. The only player that between these two teams that was remaining for tonight's game was Tyreek Hill. He had 18.7 points, and I still fell 0.16 points shy. So if Tyreek Hill would have had 2 more yards, I would have won. You could also say, if I benched Melvin Gordon for Henderson, or if I played Jared Goff over Matt Ryan, realistically, I wasn't going to do that. But if I just would have got 2 more yards out of any of these players, that's fantasy football, though. It really is tough. And I got to give my opponent props. He had a good week, even with A.J. Brown, where he mostered out Cortland Sutton on IR. He really needed the win, so he's going to move to 1-2. I'm going to be 2-1 in that league. That's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. We have our eye on the title, you know what I'm saying? And then in this other league right here, just real quick, I ended up losing. It wasn't as close. I lost by 7.3. I just had CEH in the game, and if he would have, had a bigger game, maybe a little over a 10-yard touchdown, the outcome would have been different for me. But it's just annoying. I needed both of those guys, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Tyreek Hill, to both have big games, and they both did really well, and I still lost in both leagues. But I did win one of my 3 leagues this week, so we're all good. So enough talking about my leagues. Let's get back to this game. I just thought you guys would be interested to see some fantasy sorrows, just in case you guys are experiencing that as well. That's kind of why I was also saying how it's a bit annoying that Patrick Mahomes had 4 passing touchdowns, and 2 of them went to a fullback and a tackle. I would have loved it if one of those, went to CEH or another one went to Hill. But moving on, we got the Ravens side of the ball. Their offense did not look very good. Lamar Jackson looked good rushing the ball. Passing-wise, he really could not get anything going. You see the stat line. There's not much to say. 15 of 28. He did not even have 100 yards passing, 1 touchdown in the game that they were trailing pretty much from start to finish. Like I said, he had a good rushing game, though. And then the running backs continue to be kind of iffy in Baltimore. Mark Ingram 7 for 30, Gus Edwards 4 for 39, J.K. Dobbins 1 for 6. So it's at the point where they're all getting a little bit of work, and none of them are really fantasy relevant. Obviously, if one of them gets in the end zone on any given week, they'll be relevant, but you're kind of just taking a guess. Obviously, Mark Ingram is probably, the most viable at this point, pending any changes moving forward. But yeah, that's a bit frustrating. In the receiving game, J.K. Dobbins led the team in receptions, and it looks like yards, 4 for 38. Mark Andrews, 3 of 22, although he did drop a couple passes in this game. One of them would have been a nice touchdown. I don't remember how long it would have been. It wasn't like a deep bomb, but it was decently long, like 20-ish yards. Don't quote me on that. It was something like that. But he dropped it. It was a pretty good pass. He probably should have caught it. That would have helped Lamar Jackson, stat line, and Mark Andrews. And I know someone in this league right here that I also lost in. This is a dynasty league. They lost by like just a hair, and they had Mahomes and Andrews. And if Andrews would have caught that pass, he would have won as well. So that's a bit frustrating for us too. We were texting about that during the game. But yeah, Marquise Brown, not a good game. Boykin, no one had a really good game. Duvernay did have a kick return touchdown for what it's worth. Pretty interesting. And the 1 receiving touchdown for Baltimore did go to Nick Boyle. So my takeaways from this game: Chiefs offense, if you're just going to go off of this game, they look superior. They look like the superior team tonight. I wouldn't overreact based on anything. I wouldn't trade Lamar Jackson, obviously, for nothing. I think this was just a bad game. He's a great quarterback. He has that rushing ability. He showed it. It just was not a good game for Baltimore. And the running game is a bit concerning in terms of the running backs. And obviously, wide receiver-wise, you can start Marquise Brown, it looks like, as of now. Mark Andrews should still be good moving forward. But other than that, unless an injury happens or they make a shift where they use one running back more, predominantly, it's going to be tough to know what's what there in the running game. But for Kansas City, we know Mahomes is great. We know Clyde is great. Tyreek Hill, he had another great game despite coming up just short of what I needed in fantasy. He has had a very, very good start to the season. And yeah, Travis Kelce had himself a solid game too. So honestly, nothing too crazy happened from this game. One thing to monitor, I will say though, take a look and see what Mecole Hardman's snap percentage is. I tried looking it up. There was no data available from anything I could find. By the time I post this, that might have changed. But if he is trending upwards in terms of playing time, he is someone that you might want to add sooner rather than later, because if he's playing a starter's allotment of snaps in that offense, he's going to be really, really good. Very talented player, very fast, drafted high. Just someone to keep an eye on. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you had any crazy Monday Night Football comebacks, or in my case, if you had any Monday Night Football madness, sadness, depression, whatever. Just let me know. I love hearing about that. I particularly, in weeks like this, like hearing about the sad stuff because it makes me feel not alone. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.